This is my second province since I arrived. I arrived here maybe like 3 days ago, I think. As you know, China is a big country, so there's like multiple places. There's places where you can source different stuff, and this is also one of the places. This is in Guangzhou. The city is called Guangdong, and I'm about to go out, have some lunch, and then after the lunch, gonna get back, get a little bit of sleep because I haven't slept for the past 2 days, I think, because of the time zone. It's now around 12 noon, so just quick lunch, come back, have some rest today, and then we'll start working tomorrow. So now we are in like a famous historic place that Chinese people fought with other countries. So it's like a lot of cannons here and stuff. Just moving around with my mom today.
Yeah. China.
Opium. It's a word that appears again and again throughout this museum. As I started walking through it, I realized this wasn't only a story about a drug, it was a story about trade, power, addiction, and eventually war. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the late 1700s and the early 1800s. European countries were trading heavily with China. Chinese tea, silk, and porcelain were in huge demands overseas. But China wasn't buying nearly as much from Europe in return. For Britain in particular, this created a problem. A huge amount of silver was flowing into China, and the British wanted something they could sell back to them. That product became opium. Much of the opium entering China was produced in British-controlled India and sold through networks of merchants into the Chinese market. And as the trade grew, so did addiction. Silver began flowing in the opposite direction, outside of China. The Qing government had already tried to restrict opium, but the illegal trade continued to expand. And this is where one of the most important people in this story enters, Lin Zexu. In 1839, the Qing government sent Lin Zexu to Guangdong with a clear mission: suppress the opium trade. And he took that job seriously. He pressured foreign merchants to surrender their opium. Eventually, more than 20,000 chests were handed over, and here in Guangdong, at Humen, the opium was publicly destroyed. An enormous amount of one of the world's most valuable commodities gone. Lin Zexu even wrote a letter addressed to Queen Victoria. His argument was essentially this: if opium was harmful enough to be restricted at home, why should British merchants be allowed to sell it in China? But destroying the opium didn't end the dispute. Instead, tensions escalated. In 1839, conflict between Britain and Qing China escalated into what we now call the First Opium War. And technologically, the two sides were badly mismatched. Britain possessed a modern navy, powerful artillery, and steam-powered warships. China was facing an industrial military power it wasn't prepared to match. British forces attacked along China's coasts, captured strategic positions, and pushed further into Chinese territory. The war lasted until 1842. China lost, and what followed would have consequences far beyond the opium trade. The Treaty of Nanjing ended the war in 1842. China was forced to open additional ports to the British trade, pay a large indemnity, and cede Hong Kong Island to Britain. It became the first of what China would later describe as the unequal treaties. And the opium problem itself wasn't simply over. But the story did not end with the First War. Tensions between China and Western powers continued, and in the 1850s, China found itself at war again, this time against Britain and France. The Second Opium War brought another Chinese defeat, further concessions, and even greater foreign access to China. And walking through this museum, something started becoming clearer to me. In China, the Opium Wars aren't treated as some distant conflict over trade. They're remembered as the beginning of a period in which China was repeatedly defeated, pressured, and subjected to foreign intervention. It's part of historical memory, often associated with what China calls its century of humiliation. Whether you're Chinese or you're visiting from somewhere completely different, understanding this history helps explain why these events still carry so much weight here.
So it was like a really bad drug that they had to start destroying it, and looks like the governor of the city, in the years from 1839 to 1840s, they had done like different stuff to ensure the drug is getting distracted, which I just showed you right now. The people who were actually doing the distraction. So here, as you can see, these are the people who are destroying it, cutting it down, and then throwing it into the water. And there are soldiers who are there making sure that that thing is getting done.
And for me, this was probably the most interesting part of visiting. I'd heard about the Opium Wars before, but reading a few paragraphs about something and then standing in a museum surrounded by the objects, paintings, documents, and stories connected to it are two very different experiences. You start seeing people behind the dates, the merchants, the officials, the soldiers, and ordinary people living through the consequences. I came to Guangdong as a visitor from Tanzania, and I left this museum understanding a part of Chinese history much better than I did when I walked in. Not because I memorized every date, but because I finally understood why this story matters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to catch you for the next one. See you again. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't, or follow me if you're watching this on Instagram, and I'll see you on the next video.